Who has parents like me? They have expectations. My dad has a lot of expectations for me, but his most memorable expectation is my grades. He expects me to get an A plus or an A. But if I miss, it has to be, the minimum is a C, not a C minus, because C minus is below average. Average is C. If that's bad enough, my mom expects me to clean my room. I get clean, but spotless, that's a whole nother story. Spotless, I'm done. I ain't doing spotless. That makes me angry right there. I think it's unnecessary to have it spotless. Anyways, you know, God has expectations for me. He has expectations for all of us. You know, in Micah 6, 1 through 8, God is suing his people because Israel is not holding up their side of the covenant. Now I'm going to read Micah 6, 1 through 8. If y'all have Bibles, y'all can read it with me. Hear now what the Lord is saying. Arise, plead your case before the mountains, and let the hills hear your voice. Listen, you mountains, to the indictment of the Lord, and you enduring foundations of the earth. Because the Lord has a case against his people. Even with Israel he will dispute. My people, what have I done to you? And how have I wearied you? Answer me. Indeed, I brought you up from the land of Egypt, and ransomed you from the house of slavery. And I sent before you Moses, Aaron, and Miriam. My people, remember now what Balak, king of Moab, counseled, and what Balaam, son of Beor, answered him. And from Shittim to Gilgal, so that you might know the righteous acts of the Lord. With what shall I come to the Lord, and bow myself before the God on high? Shall I come to him with burnt offerings, with yearling calves? Now Israel is asking, what do you want me to give you, God? Does the Lord take delight in thousands of rams and 10,000 rivers of oil? Shall I present my firstborn for my rebellious acts, the fruit of my body for the sin of my soul? Now, here's Micah telling them what God wants from them. He has told you, O man, what is good, and what does the Lord require of you, but to do justice, to love kindness, and to walk humbly with your God. This scene is a courtroom scene where God is the plaintiff and Micah is his attorney. The mountains are the jury, and the people of Israel are the defendants, and have been taken to court for breaking God's covenant. Micah spends a lot of his time in his preaching denouncing their sins. The problem is, they don't think it's all that bad. They think they're actually keeping up their side of the covenant because they're going to church. They're sacrificing and all that every Sunday. Or actually it's Saturday, I guess. Anyways, they're giving out sacrifices and they're praying to God on Saturdays. They even ask God, how many sacrifices can we give you? And God says, I don't want your sacrifices. I want you. He expects you. He expects all of us that we will be like him. Specifically, that we will love what he loves. Doing justice when we see injustice. It means we got to stand up to people that are doing injustice. Even though they might be our best friend, we got to stand up to them. And showing mercy to people as we have been shown mercy from Jesus and God. All of this begins when we walk closely and become like God. Today, I want you to know that God's expectations have not changed since when Micah was helping Israel. He still expects us to love mercy, walk humbly with God, and show justice. He still expects us to become like Him. If we're in a relationship with Him, are we going to walk humbly with God? Are we going to become like Him and show justice when there is injustice? And showing people mercy. Are we going to show mercy to the homeless man on the side of the street that is asking for merely $10 just to go get a sandwich at McDonald's and a drink? That's what He expects of us. He expects us to go to someone and show justice to the person that is making fun of the little kid in our schoolroom. He expects us to go to the homeless man and give him money. He expects us to be humble. Being humble is important. Like my mom and dad have always made me up to be, or tried to. It's important because my mom and dad do a lot for me. They cook for me. They do my laundry. I'm very humble for that. And how I need to be humble is I need to do stuff for them. Even though they ask me to do my room and I need to keep that clean and I need to keep it spotless, I can't tell them, hey, I don't want to do this because I don't want to. It's my room. I got to do it because my parents do a lot for me. I respect that. My dad works from early in the morning to late in the night. He gets home at 6 o'clock and we eat at 6 o'clock. And then I go to bed and I don't see him until Saturday and Sunday. I might see him in the morning if I wake up early enough. I might get to say goodbye to him when he goes to work. You see, God's expectations for His people were the Ten Commandments in Israel. When they went up on Mount Sinai, Moses went to go get the Ten Commandments. One of the laws in the Ten Commandments were already broken before he could bring them down. That was idols. Israel was not following the rules that God had set in place. And He is convicting Israel. He asks, what do you want from me? Israel asks, what do you want from me? I bet we've all asked God what He wants from us. That might be, we have lost a best friend because we're being Christians. We might ask, hey God, what do you want from us? I've been loyal to you. Why am I losing this best friend? He says, then God says, I don't want your sacrifices. I want you. I want you to do justice, love mercy, and walk humbly with me. When we do justice, when we know something is wrong, we are being men and women of God. We are following what God has made us to be. Us Christians need to be out there showing justice to those who need to be shown justice because they're making fun of someone out there. Doing something wrong, we need to call out someone that is doing something wrong. And that's how we're going to show love to that person on the street. We need to love mercy. I know a lot of y'all people think, loving mercy, y'all love when people show you mercy. Well, that's not what God is asking us when He says love mercy. He's asking us to show mercy. Even though there might be someone making fun of us, we don't need to make fun of them back. We need to show them mercy. We need to forgive them. And lastly, we need to walk humbly with God. Even though it might be hard, we might win football game or something. We need to be humble. We don't need to be out there bragging to the other team that we won, because that's just showing that God is not, it shows that Christianity is not as good as they thought it was. It's giving God a bad reputation. It's giving Christianity a bad reputation. We need to show humble. We need to be humble when we do something. The closer we are to Jesus, the better off we will be. Jesus walked humbly. He was so humble that he died on the cross for us. Lastly, I challenge you to hold up God's standard. I challenge you to walk humbly with God, show mercy, and show justice when there is injustice.